Hello, hello. Thank you so much for that, Stephen, and for having us here. How are we all feeling this morning? Woo, getting a little bit pumped in here. Hopefully you had some of your coffee. I am the first speaker, so that means I can talk about whatever I'd like. And it's going to go well. So let's go ahead and just hop right on in. Stephen actually had brought up a couple things earlier that I wanted to bring up here at the beginning. So we're going to just kind of reiterate it. I go to conferences all the time. I go to conferences and I'll hear things from marketing gurus, I'll hear things from people in the industry about the new latest trend. And one time, someone had us do an exercise. And that exercise is what I want to do today, just to start things off. So he said, there's 3 things that we need to start off the weekend with. The first one, and you guys can actually write this down in your books. I know you guys have my large picture in there, so you know where it is. The first thing is, what is one question that you want answered by the end of this weekend? Whether it's by Stephen, whether it's by myself or another speaker, one question that you can ask straight out that you want answered. And while you're doing that, second one is going to be, what is one tangible item that you think you want to automate out of the list that you talked about earlier that you're hoping I'm going to talk about today? Reason being, if I don't actually talk about it, you guys can always come up to me afterwards and talk to me afterwards, okay? All right, and last one is going to be, what is a success, a recent success for you? What is something you're proud of? Something that has happened for you recently, whether it's in business, your personal life. Let's start off on a good note. What is something that you are proud of? Awesome. I see some pens going down. If one person wants to just go ahead and raise your hand, I'm going to be kind of down here with you guys for a lot of the time, so I'm going to be definitely working with you. So if anyone wants to just say, what's something that you're proud of? Maybe someone over here, that you're proud of a recent success. I see you smiling. A brand new part of your business. That's got to be exciting for you guys, right? A brand new endeavor. That is very exciting. Awesome. So hopefully you guys were able to write down those 3 different things. At the end of my talks today, we'll go ahead and come back around, circle to those. But for right now, let's start talking systems. Sound good? Yeah? Awesome. All right, building systems. First and foremost, my name, again, is Stephanie Cuevas. So as you guys probably have heard by now, I'm not Australian. If you didn't, now you know. I'm from beautiful Santa Barbara in California. So I work for Entreport. We are a marketing and business automation software. And we recently opened up a hub out here in Australia, which is why I'm here. So myself and my teammate Mike at the back, we are your Australian team, and what we do, we work with businesses who are wanting to automate. They want to start using systems in their business so that they can scale and go to the next step. So I work with hundreds of entrepreneurs. I've worked in many different positions over 2 years with the company. I was in our partners, relations, sales, and now I work directly with our clients, talking about what pain points they have and how we can fix them. And that's where Steve and I were working together so we can automate a lot of his processes. But enough about me. Let's start talking about the missing link. So at these conferences that I go to, what I've found is we talk about the newest trends. We talk about marketing. What's the newest thing out there for you to use? But the underlying message that I've seen is that there is a fundamental disconnect between business owners and what systems really are. So it's quite confusing. How do you build a system? especially if you have a business, it's running, and that's where the disconnect comes in. And that's mostly because we've been brought up to think that hard work, you work hard, you're intelligent, and if you have a little dash of luck, gosh, you have a great business. And the thing is, that is very true. The problem is, and the disconnect or the missing link, is that hard work is being put in the wrong places. The hard work needs to be put into systems. That's the only way that you're going to be able to scale your business. Can I use a clicker? Is that what this is? Because I like walking back and forth, I do, but okay. So here's the story, or this is how it normally goes. A business or an entrepreneur starts a business, or you have a business, and it's going great. You're living the life that I don't have. You don't have to ask your manager or your boss, hey, can I go to the dentist? I need time off. I need to go take my kid to school. I need to go pick them up. So as a CEO and owner, you have all this great time, it's all available to you, and you own this amazing business. And then you say, you know what, I believe in my product, I believe in my service, I believe in my business, and I'm ready to start taking it to a larger audience. So what do? You start working harder. You start working longer. And then where do you find yourself? Now you're like me. You can't ask anyone for that time off because you're so busy doing the actual work. So what have you done? You have now built yourself a job. You have not built yourself a business. And that's the difference between job building and business building. I like this little photo over here. Are you too busy to improve? No thanks, I don't want the wheels. So let's talk about your jobs. How important is your job to your business? When I first got my management role, it's the first time I became a manager. I went home and I talked to my dad. He's one of my best friends. We are so open with each other, and he was so proud of me. And what he said to me was, Stephanie, in order for you to be a manager, you need to be able to go on vacations at least for a month a year. That was the most random thing for me to hear. Who says that? I finally got a new management position, and I'm thinking, I'm in charge, I have all this responsibility. And you see, he owns a law firm. It's been flourishing for years, and when I was growing up, we used to go on vacations all the time. Las Vegas, Florida, all these places throughout the States. We went to Europe, and I never really thought about it. But as a business owner, what he was trying to get across to me was what he brought up next. So he went on to say, a business is not a business unless the executive team can leave the business and it still runs. And that's what's true of the businesses that you're looking now to create systems and automate. If you are the person, if you need to be there in order for your business to continue, it's a job. So if you ask yourself right now, if you went on vacation for a month straight, what would happen when your business got back, or when you got back from your vacation? Would your business have lost some money? Would it have stayed where it is? Would it have improved? Or would there even be a business at all? And if it didn't say it improved, we need to start getting you some systems. Sound good? So let's stop job building and let's start business building. And the answer to business building, which is what we brought up earlier, is creating systems in your business that do the work for you. You're not going to be doing the work anymore, so let's find out what different parts of your business right now, can we automate. When I first started at Entreport, the president and CEO recognized that in order for us to work with entrepreneurs, to work with business owners, we had to understand the struggles that they were going through. Why do so many businesses fail? So we read the E-Myth, and the E-Myth Revisited, if you haven't read it, check it out, is now read by every single new rep at our company. Every single person is reading it. because it gives a really good background on systems. And what it brings up, the first thing that it actually uses to portray systems is McDonald's, which I unfortunately had for breakfast this morning. Ugh, did you see that? It's like right around the corner. Good coffee, though. So with McDonald's food isn't what makes McDonald's great. I'm not going to go home and tell my friends I ate at a 5-star restaurant, I ate at McDonald's, and yet their business is flourishing. And the book goes a little bit more in depth, but basically what it's saying is McDonald's is flourishing because of its operations, because of its systems. All of its systems and operations are written down so that another business can pick up that book and know exactly how to handle every different part of its business. The question is, if you did that with a friend, would they know how to run your business? Unless you have it documented down, unless you have these processes in place, how are you able to scale? I'm not saying that you need to go the franchise route, of course, but think of your business as creating a prototype for your business, creating the systems that are in place for a business like yours. You're a stakeholder in your own business, more or less. You're not actually working in it. So that's kind of the mind frame that they create in this book. And it brings you to realize, okay, we really do need to have systems in our business. But why? I don't really understand why. Why are they so great? Systems are great because they're predictable. They're delegatable, measurable, you can improve on them, they're scalable, and where I come in, they're automatable. So they're predictable. How many people like pies in here? I guess they're called like meat pie. I'm not really sure. American. So I tried a meat pie when I first moved here. Love them now. But let's talk about your favorite pie at your favorite restaurant down the street. What happens if they didn't have a recipe for that pie? If you went there and you had an amazing pie, you decide to come back 2 weeks later, it's not so good. Like, what happened? And then you go back another time. Eventually, you might get 2 or 3, you might get lucky, but eventually you're going to get a dud pie. That's no way to run a business. Every single part of your business needs to have a recipe. That way you can predict what the outcome is going to be. Now, when you have that recipe, a cook is not going to know because it's in your head. They're only going to know it because it's written down. So once you have that recipe or that system, you're going to write it down, and then it makes it so it's delegatable. When you can delegate these items, you're then going to free up your time. Because if you can't delegate these systems, what's going to happen? Either you're doing all the work yourself, you might have an employee that you're frustrated with because they're not doing it right, which kind of happened with sales reps. We can see that happening. They're not doing it right. Or you do have an employee that's awesome, but you're chained to them. What if they leave the company? You would have no idea what to do next. And that's something my dad had seen, and he brought that up again. He had no idea how to do his secretary's job. So when she got pregnant and had to leave, whoa, what do you do next? So you need to have your predictable systems written down so you can start delegating them. And then as soon as they're delegatable, you can start measuring it. Because you have written down details, you have expectations, you have now delegated them, and you can now measure against both of those items how well someone's doing. So if it was a cook, I could say, I know that this cook can bake 30 pies an hour. I know that they're going to be great pies because they are the recipe that I gave him. And I know that there's about 50 people that come into my restaurant on a Thursday. What does that mean for the consumer? You're going to get the great pies, you're going to get enough pies, and they're not going to run out. Because you can measure all of the details, and then you can start saying, okay, let's improve the process. Now that I know how many people are coming in, let's start moving up. Improve the process, change your packaging. And now you can measure versus what that expected outcome was, what's changing items. A thing that I see a lot of my clients run into is they put all this money and cash into marketing. And it sounds great because, oh, you get a spike in your numbers. The next month, nothing. Why? because they have no line to compare it against. You can't measure, you cannot improve. Do not put money into marketing if you don't have a system to back it, because how are you going to measure those results? Lastly, scalable. You have the systems, you know that you can give the work to anyone, you know what you can and can't improve, and now it's scalable to the point where you just, if you want more pies, you want more stores, just hire more cooks. If you want more leads, you know that your systems are in place, hire more sales reps. Become scalable. But better yet, instead of hiring more cooks, instead of hiring more sales leads, automate it. Automating a system means you're not going to use someone like myself who, I'm not perfect. If you have a system or a software that's going to allow you to automate any of these systems, you now have something that is going to work every single time. So the best part about systems in my mind, of course coming from a software background, is that they are automatable. So Amazon, they use a software to sell books. Apple, they use a software to sell you, I buy movies off of there, but movies and music. LinkedIn for recruiting, salons. You can now go and online book your salon appointment. Same thing for yoga studios. I work with a lot of yoga studios back in the US. Yoga studios, you now can buy your online membership. They're all using softwares. They don't have someone on the phone that's taking up their entire time to do these items. Restaurants and people in your industry. So I was thinking about coming here today. There's going to be a vast variety of industries here. And the message that I want to get across with this kind of introduction before we get deep into everything is that in every single industry, you need to automate and you need to use softwares. It's not only specific to marketing, which is something that I hear a lot. Oh, it's only marketing companies. It's every single business. You might not realize it, but every single business is using a software or a system to automate lots of their processes so that they can scale. And that's where business automation, or my background, automating things, comes in. So at Entreport, what we've done is we work with people so that they tell us what their business model is, and then we start to automate all of those processes. So let's talk about some examples of automation. We have our external and our internal automation. You can, of course, automate your marketing and your promotion. So you had talked about earlier doing lead magnets, which is what we will get into today, this afternoon. So lead magnets, lead management. As soon as you do have that lead, how are you managing that interaction? Making sure that you're making a personal conversation with that contact. Sales practices. What about your sales representatives? Are you the only sales rep? How are you selling your product, and how can you automate it? Follow up. This is a huge one. I used to use sticky notes when I was working at my dad's law firm years ago. How many times do you think I drop balls? A lot. If you're like me and you used to use sticky notes on your computer, don't do that. Use a system to help automate your follow-up. Customer service, staff training, management, record keeping, and performance reviews. So there's a lot of different parts of businesses that you might not know can be scalable, can be automatable. So these are just a few examples, and I'm hoping that this sparks a few things in everyone's heads right now as far as more items that they can start to automate. So the first thing we're going to do, you'll notice in front of you, you guys should have, I printed up some papers, so you guys should have them. Does anyone not have one? We all good? Okay. So the first thing we're going to do on that first page with the light bulb, on the left-hand side, I want to take 3 minutes. Go ahead and write down, possibly from list, or from what we had talked about earlier, go a little bit deeper than what we started with before. What's one process in your sales process? Is it with your sales representatives? Is it with yourself? What about your lead process? Is it with people coming to your website? And write down a couple ideas between your tables as far as different automations that you want to put together and different lead magnets that you can use. So with that, I think There we go. So with that, you have that here at the top. So business processes you would like to automate, go ahead and fill that in, and I'll give you just about 2 or 3 minutes. Okay? No, we're just doing the top. So just the top right-hand corner right now. So a couple business processes that now you can even pull some from this list and do a little bit more information on it. So if it would be myself, when I first went to Entreport, I'd say the sales process needed some work. We needed to automate some things because we were taking on more reps. So we needed a way to start funneling people to the new reps. If it's for leads, you now need to be able to start scheduling, so possibly being able to schedule your meetings. You want to start doing that. How long are those meetings? Do you do consultations? Okay, I'm going to move on. So the goal is, of course, to automate these systems. So the systems that you now wrote down, how do you do that? We're talking about systems, we're talking about automating, but how? At Entreport and lots of different softwares, we coined the term funnels. So you have a funnel. You're building out a funnel. So what are they? What are funnels? Dictionary definition, a tube or pipe that is wide at the top and narrow at the bottom, used for guiding liquid or powder into a small opening. That's true, right? We all know what a funnel is. But in automation, a funnel is essentially moving people through a specific system or process from point A to point B in a specific path. So if it's getting someone to buy your product, what needs to happen in order to get there? So when you're putting together these funnels, the way that we actually put them together is based off of a trigger and a goal. So a trigger. What is the first item? How does it start? What is the actual action of being poured into this funnel? Where do they start? And what is your goal? There's going to be a whole lot of things that happen in between there, but that's the main thing to keep in mind with one of those systems that we're going to be working on this afternoon. Where do they start, and what is the goal? It's pretty simple, right? Well, it's kind of hard to see. Can you guys see that okay? Not really? Okay. So this is what we're going to do. Improvisation. So we're going to go through a couple examples of funnels so we can start getting you guys to understand how to build them and how you can use them. So this first one is our attraction funnel example. You should have them inside of you should have the example in front of you, actually. Yeah, perfect. So this is the one with the large map, and it has all the different colors on it. Okay. So this is an example of a funnel. This funnel is a live funnel that we use at Entreport. And this is how we capture leads. So one of the things that was brought up earlier is I want to be able to have people go to my website and capture lead information. How do you do that in an automated way? What we've done is kind of like process mapping. Have you guys done process mapping before? Who's familiar with process mapping? Yes, okay. So it looks pretty similar. So in this example, we have here at the top what we call our triggers. So how are we getting people to our website and interested in Entreport? The first thing here at the top is basically going to say, okay, I'm going to give them some sort of value. I'm going to call that an ebook. Or I'm going to call that just a simple lead magnet. Once they've done that, what needs to happen next? If you look on the second part of it, I need to send them an email. Can I use the pointer on here? Yes, I can. Okay, second part is sending them an email. So you want to be able to automate these emails so you don't have to follow up yourself. Right? Who wants to go home and send out that email every single time? It might be a little bit differently. So in this system, whenever someone is interested in Entreport, they come to our website, they tell us they're interested by filling out a form, and then what needs to happen next? I want an email to be sent. Pretty straightforward. So in this map, the trigger is they fill out a form, an email is sent, And then the goal is that they actually interact. So a lot of times when you are receiving these emails, who knows if they're actually reading the content that you're sending to them? Nowadays, you're inundated with emails being sent to you all the time from tons of different systems. Tons of different companies are sending you all of these different emails. So your real goal here isn't to send them an email, it's to engage with them. So with a system like Ontraport, you're able to now utilize if they have or have not engaged. So with Ontraport, it's going to tell you, have they clicked on a link in that email? Have they even opened it? Did they go to your website? Behavioral items are now going to become available so that you can start doing more automated components instead of just the top layer of send them an email. So a lot of times people are asking me about the automation of systems, and it's pretty straightforward. Okay, I need to send an email, but I can do that on my own. I can use BCC and Gmail. What's the real utility? The real utility when it comes to email marketing, the email marketing component, is the ability to do behavioral type of campaigns and funnels. And a behavioral campaign is saying, based off of how you're interacting with my content, if I send you an email and it has 3 links, one saying, do you need help with your sales team? The other one saying, do you need help with your marketing? The other one saying, do you need help with your booking? I can smartly have a funnel that says, dependent on what actual link you had chosen, I'm now going to start sending you emails based off of that specific interest. You're more inclined to actually interact with a company or have someone purchase your product or your services if it's specific to their pain point. And the problem with tons of marketing, and the problem with these types of interactions, is that they're too broad. Your service, your industry can service a lot of different items. But what you're needing to do is have a personal conversation and have that be scalable. So you're able to do that with something like this, using a funnel that goes down the line. Now let's talk about a couple other things, other examples. So outside of the initial lead opt-in, which is, again, what we'll be going over later, what other ways can you automate your business? What about with Steve and his events? This is actually one of his campaigns that we worked on together. So let's just talk through it. In the events, for different events, what are some things that he's going to need? He needs the ability for someone to purchase online. As soon as someone purchases online, you want to get that email that says thank you. You don't want to just spend your money and then say, what happened? So you're going to use a system for the actual purchasing, which in this case is Ontraport. The product is purchased, so that's what we consider the top of the funnel or the beginning. And then an email is sent. That email is going to be the thank you. Now what happens after that? If it's an event coming up, I want to know where it's going to be, what time I need to be there, all the information as quickly as possible. I don't want to find out the day before. So if it's something that's based on a date, so for an event for today, you want to have reminders set up. And you don't want to have to send them out on your own. So in this system, in this automated funnel, as soon as someone purchases an item, not only do they get the thank you, but they're now going to automatically start getting the reminders that are preset on dates. So he doesn't have to touch it. As soon as someone purchases from him online, our system takes care of it. The purchasing happens, they receive the email, and then on the next date, which I believe in this one was on July 25th, reminder email 1 goes out. On August 8th, reminder email 2 goes out. And on August 22nd, the 3rd email goes out. So for events, you're able to create any of these systems that are not only going to be linear. So for scheduling, for instance, if someone comes to your website and they're interested in doing a consultation or a demonstration, then they go to your calendaring system, which we'll go into a little bit later. They book a time. They're going to go onto a map that says time is booked. Send an email, thank you so much. Here's the information on where we will meet. And then the day before, send them a text message. The morning of, send them an email. Create that system once, regardless of when they book it. It's going to go into the system and automatically send the text message and the 2 emails on its own. So you automate that whole process. All you need to do is show up for the call. Making sense, guys? Yeah? And the cool thing about this, and obviously the difference between process mapping, these are live maps. So with our builder, the way that it works, it looks like you're just building out a process map. But these are actually live systems. So you're not just building out the framework and then you need to go add it in or code anything. You simply go into the system and say, this is what I want to happen, this is what I need to happen next. And it'll take care of it for you. Pretty cool. The visual representation of it makes it so people like myself don't have a tech background. Take it for what it is. Don't have a tech background. I'm able to use a system like this. And I think that's really the awesome part about Ontraport is I can understand it. I use it every day. And over the past years, I've just learned to love it because I use it for my own personal items as well. I know Mike used it for his wedding to send out to the groomsmen all of the different emails, etc. So it's an easy-to-use system, and you don't have to think too hard about it. All right, service industry. With the service industry, there's usually a lot of different systems out there that you can use. It's specific to your industry, and it has some limitations. That's usually what I hear from people. Okay, I have this great system, but what I really wanted to do, the email marketing component, it's not there. Or what this one little piece, it's not there. So I need to be able to integrate it with another system. With Ontraport or with any type of hub, any CRM that captures that data, you're going to want something that has an open API. It sounds scary, don't worry about it, just if that's you, write that down. Open API. So with the open API, you would be able to integrate any of your systems into Ontraport to run any of these types of automation alongside it. Because of course, if they developed something that's specific to your industry, it's probably going to be great for you. Yeah. Application performance interface. Program interface. Application program interface. It's basically the way for developers to code out items to send data between two systems. All right, so contractor hire. This is a map that I built a couple weeks ago for a client who she does parties for kids. I think it's called fairy. She has like fairies that go out for little kids' parties. And her problem was that she was needing to automate the process of people going online to sign up, book her, and then get the different characters that are needed for that type of party. So it was taking her a lot of manual time because she had the initial booking online, then she had the email being sent to her, she had to sort things out, go through 2 Excel files, call people, who's available, etc. So what we did is we sat down, we wrote down from top to bottom, people sign up online, what are the options that they can choose from? Type of party, characters available, how long is the party? As soon as we have all that data down, we put it into a form that they could fill out online. Once that form is captured, our system is automatically going to say, if it's this type of fairy, pair it up with this person. If it's this type of character, pair it up with this person. As soon as that was done, our system needs to automatically notify them. She does not want to actually touch it at all. So in this map, what you'll see is as soon as someone has purchased the event date becomes updated, they send the thank you email, of course, but we're also using this for your internal components as well. So it's not only the interaction or communication with the client, but it's also the communication with her internal team. So as soon as the contractor was updated to Isaac, a notification email was sent to Isaac with the details. All he needed to do was send in a text message that said, yes, I can take the date, or no, I cannot. So with these type of service-based industries, using things like internal tasks, internal emails or notifications are going to be huge. Maybe you're looking to send something out to a contractor who needs to be on site. Send them a task. Send them all the details that they need, and then they can use the task to mark it complete. So you as your manager knows that things are, or items are getting done. Making sense? All right, only a couple more, you guys. Simple follow-up. This one I love. So I come from a sales background. When I first started Entreport, I was in our sales team. And one of the first things that we did was revamp the sales team completely. So before, there was a bunch of different types of calls that were being made. And we just wanted a simple way for us to follow up with anyone who's interested in Entreport. So what we did is we took a look at how our system was running. And we had a system. We were using Entreport. We still to this day use Entreport to run our entire business. But for our sales team, it was getting a little bit murky. So what we did is we decided, well, actually, let's take a step back. Our sales process. People come to our website and tell us, they raise their hand, they're interested in a demonstration. So now, I get on a phone call. It's a booked phone call, scheduled phone call. I get on that phone call, and for 30 minutes, we're going to talk about your business. What components would you use Entreport for? Usually at the end of the conversation, this is great, I need to think about it. How many people have that type of conversation? Sounds great, need to think about it. Happens a lot. How are you going to follow up with that person? There's two different components to it in my mind that need to happen. A, I need to start my communication with them, which is what we call lead nurturing. So I need to start sending them information, build my brand. But B, I need to have myself or one of my reps, whoever had that conversation, get in contact with them. When I end my calls, I set that time. I set the expectation so they know I'll be calling them again. So at the end of that phone call, sounds great, would love to talk again. Okay, how does next week sound? Oh, actually, I'm going to talk to the CEO tomorrow, so I'll probably find out by Friday. Give me a call then. That works very well for us, so I now have a set time or a set specific date frame that I want to work with. So all I need to do is go into an automated system, mark something that says what day I want to follow up, and move on to my next phone call. So now, as soon as we put in a simple follow-up system, we were able to completely scale our sales team. We were down to 2 people doing the work of 10. And all that we did is we just switched it up, so now we had a simple follow-up system, and we had an online booking system. And it allowed us to scale so quickly. And in the process, it was very simple. A task. The task is give someone a call. As soon as I give that person a call, what needs to happen next? Another task needs to be assigned. So I actually have the task completed. I write in the between part what day I want to follow up, and another task is sent to me, and it loops back around. Until I get a task, a phone call, where they either buy or they say they're not interested any longer, I leave that field blank, nothing else happens. It's as simple as that. So if that's something you're interested in, if you want to learn more about follow-up and how to make that easy for your life, that is something that I live and breathe because of the sales team, because of my background. We also have an ebook on it online. So if you guys are interested in learning a little bit more about Follow-Up Made Easy, you can actually text this phone number on the screen. All you need to do is text your email address, and it will go ahead and end up in your inbox. So I'll just leave this up there for a moment. So again, text your email address to that phone number, and it's going to go through the different systems. So it's basically going to walk through what is your current follow-up system, where are the holes in it, and what parts can you automate. Best part about this too, and I'm going to actually show you this later, if you guys text this phone number, I now have your information, and I didn't do anything. I'm just standing up here from stage. That's an automated system. And we do that through Entreport. So we're going to walk through that later too. All right, can we move on? Oh, also, on the sales systems and follow-up, I'm going to be in Canberra with Steve in September, and that's what we're going to be talking on specifically. So sales systems. So if that's something you're interested in, I'll be there. Hopefully I'll be able to see some of you guys there. And that's what we'll be going through at that event. Okay, so we've gone through a lot of different maps that Entreport has done. We've gone through some of the builds. We now know why systems are important. We've given the background. Okay, we understand. How do we actually automate? I don't want to say that Entreport's the only system. I'm here to help you guys. And I want you guys to know there are tons of systems out there. The ones that we've gone through and the pictures that we've gone through are my expertise. And that is why I brought them up. But there are other ones out there. There are some ones that might be more specific to different businesses. And on the sales team, the way that we like to sell Entreport is only to people that are needing it for their business. So I'm going to do the same thing for you guys here today and tell you a couple different other ones that are out there and what their strengths are. So we've got MailChimp, emails, great at it. Anyone who's brand new to business, it's a great tool to get started with. A lot of my clients started on it a couple years ago, and then they realize it doesn't have all the functionalities that you're needing. So it's very simple. If you're looking to build systems, it's not a system builder, it's simply for emails. Salesforce. Large sales teams, kind of implied in there, right? Salesforce. So Salesforce is for large sales teams, very complex, hard to set up, but it's great for anyone who has a team of 200 sales reps. We got Infusionsoft. Infusionsoft is going to be another marketing automation software. I hear that word all the time on my phone calls. That's probably going to be the one that we hear about a lot. It is an automation software, just like Entreport. The difference is, with Entreport, the way that you build things out, those different systems, those different maps that we've gone through, make it a whole lot easier to actually implement those systems. So if you're not looking to become a marketing guru, if you don't want to hire a marketing team to do all your marketing for you, and you want to be able to create systems easily, that's usually when you would go with Entreport. Okay? Any questions? Does anyone have any questions so far about systems, the different maps that we've gone through? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. It is. Yeah, it is. So in the migration process, a lot of clients are moving off of things like MailChimp into Entreport. So the migration process is 2 hours of free help with our team, where we'll actually export the information from your MailChimp account, the contact details, the different lists and segments, and then we're going to go ahead and make any of the funnels with you, duplicate any of the templates, or remake them, however you'd like. So the migration process is simple. It's as easy as exporting data, importing it, and utilizing our team, which we give you for free to help you in that migration. Yeah? Yep. Yeah. Totally. So the way that spam works, there's a couple different reasons that different systems are going to send into the spam inbox. So whenever you're using a system to broadcast emails, they're using RIPs. And that's based off of how reputable RIPs are. And for that reason, companies that are putting together any of these broadcast IP systems need to be in accordance with CAN-SPAM laws. So they need to make sure that people are not spamming. So if you purchased a list, those people aren't looking to expect to hear from you. What it's going to do, someone's going to broadcast this list, and the IP that it's sent from is going to look at as a spammy IP. So then any of the Hotmails, Yahoos, AOL, Gmail, they have different algorithms that are looking for those type of emails, and they're going to say, your IP is no good. You're going into spam. They call that blacklisting. Some different domains, so if you've ever yourself possibly done that, it's okay. Purchased a list and sent it out through your personal inbox, that is going to reflect on your domain. So if it was Stephanie@Entreport, it reflects that one. So with MailChimp, the thing about it is, I'm not sure how they actually vet the people that come onto their system. But in comparison, that's just a little bit of background on why that happens, but in comparison, with Entreport, we have a postmaster team. It sounds really sophisticated. Our postmaster team, what they do is whenever you bring in a list, we have an algorithm that says, okay, how many of these people have hard bounced? How many of these people are info ats, are hello ats? Because most of the time that's a purchase list. If it's a purchase list like that, on that initial migration, we're going to have a team member actually call you and say, hey, where'd you get this list? And we have those type of things in place so that we do not end up in the spam folder. Same thing goes for afterwards. If you start sending emails and you're starting to see people are unsubscribing, or people are saying, I don't want this anymore, or worse, they're clicking on this is spam. As soon as you hit a specific threshold, which I believe is 0.35% within our system, we get a red flag. So we make sure that our IP stay as clean as possible. And because of that, we have one of the highest deliverability rates in the industry. So you don't have to worry about that with us. Unless you bought a list, in which talk afterwards. Yeah. They're not necessarily the emails that bounce. It's just a lot of times the info at, the hello at type of emails that you're bringing in are purchased. So whenever we see a whole list that's just that, it's a red flag for us. You probably didn't get that information on your website or... Okay. Okay. No, keep it. Keep it, definitely keep it. So for you, if anyone's starting a business as well, so you have your domain, you also have a domain, or you have your domain and then you have the different words in front of it. So you're obviously going to want to have different emails for your different interactions or communications. So for yourself, you probably don't want to give out your personal one, but you want to have it branded so that it looks clear. Yeah, so you want to, but when I mean like branded, so if you're sending an email to me, if you're sending it into our support team, the reply to or the info at, you want it to actually say support at. So if you're using ask, maybe that's a way for people to contact you, right? So just make sure that you're keeping it parallel to how you're actually using it. No problem for yourself or your actual business. As far as lists go, that's where we see that information. Like, hey, where'd you get that list? Any more questions about, I have a lot of knowledge in that type of area, so we can go, we can go with questions here. Yeah. No, so that's again dependent on your IP and whoever you're being sent from. Yeah, if it's your own business, you're fine. With MailChimp, if you're sending it from info at, you mean? If you're sending it from MailChimp, I honestly don't know what their rules are on it. The way that we go about that, with your actual account with us, you need to have your name or your domain as your main email address for your account. It comes... Yeah. I'm like, let's go down the line. No. So it's going to come from our servers, but it's going to look like it's coming from you. If I get that email from you and I'm replying to it, it's going to go back to the info at. Okay? So I'm replying to that email. You can choose which email it's coming from, and you can choose which email it's going to. Although it's coming from this server, just like with Gmail, right? It's coming from your name. So it's not going to affect it. It's still only affected the actual sender, the deliverability, how that email is being come across is coming from our server. We just have your name on it. Yeah. Yeah, so whenever you're sending emails with any system, it is one of the CAN spam laws where it does have to have who it's actually being sent from. So that is going to be like, it says like mail from or mail to. Monkey. Yeah, yeah, it does. So in any system like that, yes. The difference, right. And the header. So with us, it does have a little snippet on the side, and at the bottom of their emails, it has like the little information at. With ours, it does not. So you don't have to have that information. It doesn't look, it's not ugly like that, yeah. Yeah. Not in the URL bar, it's actually within the subheader of the email. Yeah, well, you can definitely see that in the address. Well, that's good. So it sounds like you guys are pretty familiar with different systems. How many of you guys had heard about Entreport before? That's good. Maybe I should ask who hadn't. Okay, one person who hadn't. So you kind of know the differences. Are we starting to see a little bit a little bit more between the differences of your MailChimp accounts and what Entreport can do? I think it's best whenever I have these type of conversations on what type of systems you can actually automate, realizing that Entreport is not just email. So again, with MailChimp, the email component, we have the ability to do more advanced things because you can intertwine it. You can now integrate your systems. So it's not only the emails, it's going to be the other parts of your business as well. All right, any more questions before we move on? Okay, yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What? You're sifting people. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like the way that you think about it that way. So with funnels, that's very correct. So the way, how advanced you want your funnels to be is up to you. I definitely wanted to start it off to have like the basic understanding of when someone comes to your website, when one action happens, what is your goal? This needs to happen. In between, there's a whole lot of things that you can do. So just like you're sifting through people, you're catching people at specific areas. Did they open my email? Yes. Did they click on the link? Yes. Send them the email that's specific to that link. Did they not open the email? They didn't open it. Send them another reminder email. Hey, why didn't you open this? If they didn't open that email, maybe they just don't like email as a type of media, right? So maybe you want to push them to a Facebook ad. Push them to a Facebook ad. As soon as they get on a Facebook ad, if they then opt in for that specific Facebook ad and it's a different interest, add them onto a different funnel that's specific to that interest. So it can get very advanced as far as like how you want to sift through, and that's very true. Scheduling tools. So we use Calendly at Entreport, and the reason that I put these up there is because they can integrate with a lot of different systems. So there are other calendaring systems out there that are available. In my experience, I like Calendly because it's easy. If you go to our website and you book a demonstration, you're going to be taken to Calendly. You would have no idea that you're not actually going through our information. It's all branded. As soon as someone books on there, it goes into our Entreport account, and I get a task that says you have a call booked with this person on this date. Here are their pain points. This is why they're interested in Entreport. You also have Acuity scheduling. Acuity scheduling is great because you can actually use it for more like teachers. I know I have a client who works with a lot of teachers, and so they needed something a little bit more advanced, so they use Acuity scheduling. Time Trade, we also do integrate with Time Trade. So again, the nice thing about all three of these, although the actual scheduling happens inside of this tool, the data is then pushed into Entreport so that we can put together a funnel behind it. All right, so regardless if you're using MailChimp, if you use Infusionsoft, or maybe you're using a no automation tool at all, or maybe you have a different system out there at all. The thing that people get stuck at is they have so many different parts that they want to automate. So automation happens with small steps, not large leaps. So instead of thinking about the big picture, I want to automate the entire process, think of the beginning step, what happens next. If I come up to you and I say, I'm interested in your service after this talk today, What do you want to do next? Are you going to give me your card and hope that I call you? What other actionable items can you do that are going to get you closer to your goal? So think about it that way. It's tiny steps. What can happen next, and how can you make it a little bit better? All right. So what is something that is happening daily for every business? Every single business, what is something that you guys need to happen right now while you're in this room that you're not around? And you're not around. You want your leads to come in. You never want leads to stop just because you're not in the office and you're growing your business at a conference. You want things to get better while things are continuing on the back end. With leads, we've kind of gone over, people have brought up lead magnets, lead funnels. That's going to be something every single business needs to have. Regardless if you're on vacation, regardless if you're at a conference, you need to have a system in place that's going to capture those leads, one, that marketing has brought them in. So if you're spending all this money on marketing, they're going to your website, they take a look at it, and then they leave. That's no good. You just wasted some money. So what we need to do is we need to create a system to capture those leads. We need to get their information so that you can then reach back out to them. And that's what we call a lead funnel or an attraction funnel. I keep putting down this little clicker thing. All right, so part 2 today. It looks like I have about 10 minutes left. I was going to do this after the break. So instead, why don't we just talk a little bit more about your guys' lead funnels? Okay, so a lead funnel. Who knows what a lead funnel is? What different components are in a lead funnel? Nobody. Okay. I do, so that's good. Let's talk about the example from earlier. A lead funnel for me at Entreport. At events, just to be completely transparent, I'm looking to get some people's information that are interested in Entreport. How can I capture that information in a systematic way? And how can I automate it so I don't have to worry about getting that card? Because when I'm at conferences with thousands of people, if I have that card, what's going to happen? I'm going to get that card, I'm going to go back to the office, I'm going to have phone calls, I'm going to be doing follow-up. I'm not going to get all those emails out to every single person that I talk to. I'm not going to remember what we had talked about. And for event speakers, presenters, the time between you meeting someone at an event or at a networking event to the time that you actually get in contact with them is pivotal. If that time frame is too long, I've already moved on to the next thing. Great conversation, but in that time in between, there's so many other things that I've talked about. There's so many other things that I've learned. So instead, what I want to do is I want to immediately start building that relationship with them. I want to get them the information right off the bat. So for the SMS funnel earlier, that's exactly what I'm doing. So as soon as you text in that phone number, my system, my Entreport account, is going to say text message received with email address. Send them a text message back. Immediate gratification. So then you guys know that you're going to get what I had promised you. Because a lot of times you're going to get all of these promises that are empty. Yeah, I'll send you an email. Yeah, we'll follow up. Doesn't happen. Don't let leads fall through the cracks. Have a system put in place for those leads that are basically raising their hand saying, yes, I want more information. I want to work with you, but you're not actually utilizing that right. So as soon as you get the text message back, I'm going to now send you an email. What's going to be in that email? That email is going to be the content that you're supposed to be given, and then it's going to direct you to the next step. And the next step is I want you to check out Entreport. So that's a basic lead funnel. I give you some sort of value here at the beginning. You want to learn more about sales follow-up? Great. Send a text message. What's the trigger? Text message is sent. Awesome. I need to now respond. I need to give you information. I don't want to take the time to do that myself, so I'm going to tell my system, send them a text message back, send them the email with the content, and you're taken care of. The communication with the client is now taken care of. On the back end, I now have all that information stored inside of my CRM. So when I get back to the office on Monday, I can come into my system and say, this person texts me, they clicked on the link in the email, they also clicked on the link to check out Ontraport, give them a call, shoot them an email, get them to schedule a time with me. If you didn't click on the link in the email, I have the system that's going to automatically send you an email the next day. Hey, why didn't you download the link? And all of that is automated. So while I'm standing up here, I'm not going to miss out on any leads. I don't have to worry about those cards. So whenever I'm at a networking event and I'm not speaking from stage, I have on my card a number that they can text in. You want to follow up with me when I get in the office? You want to work together? Text me at this phone number with the word work, and it does something completely different than anyone who texts the word in Ontraport. So you're now able to use the texting functionality to capture leads at different areas. So that's a lead funnel. And that's what we're going to be doing after the break today. Instead of me talking from stage, I know I love it up here. It's great having the lights on me. I'm going to be walking around, and we're going to actually use the worksheet to build out a lead funnel for you guys today. All right. Sound good? All right. I think that's it for now.
All right. Give Stephanie a big round of applause.